Hey there folks, Champesk here, bringing another audio commentary, and today we have a game from the WGT, which is just going on now at the moment, and this is going to be a game between TeD and Wulin on Secret Valley, and the score is currently 1-1 now in this best of three, so whoever takes this is going to take the game, and obviously TeD, a fantastic undead player, really sort of the last of his breed basically, and he has such a distinctive style that if you look at the top ranks now, basically undead versus orc looks so favored to undead just because TeD has such a good record against orc, and so we're gonna have to see how Wulin's gonna try and fight this off. And looks like they're doing a bit of chatting. Unfortunately, I don't have the Chinese language pack on, so and I don't speak Chinese actually, which is probably the bigger problem there. So we can't know exactly what they're talking about. But there's a lot of interesting strategies on this map. It looks like TeD's gonna be opening up with a fiend opening, and then there's a lot of responses. We could see either going for Torn Chieftain or Shadow Hunter would be quite valid as a second hero for Wulin. Obviously, the Blade Master is definitely the hero that's vastly preferred on this map just because of these healing fountains in the corners, and there's a lot of different things that we can see as TeD moves on. You can go for something like Banshees, although this probably isn't the best map for it. I think it's much more likely that we're either going to see lots of fiends with tier 3 getting the orb and the lich, and maybe a third hero, maybe pushing before that, and then maybe throwing in, or definitely throwing in some statues, maybe changing some of them into destroyers. There's a lot of really small nuances that he uses to change up his play. Likely to see a lot of skeleton harass as well, and at that point we're really going to see how TeD's going to choose to define his play here. And oh my god, TeD going for lich first, so this actually has already very much defined his play into one thing I wasn't talking about before, which is the lich tower rush. Almost certainly what we're going to see is a fantastic strategy from TeD that he sort of really has been using very rarely, and to be honest, I'm not sure I've ever actually seen him win with it. I've seen him do it maybe 3 or 4 times now, maybe 3 times I think, but I think he's always come close to winning and then lose. I think I actually covered a game of this between TeD and Grubby on this map, even using this strategy, and that's a really fantastic game. You should go check that out after this game, but we're going to have to see how it's going to work out for TeD this time. The big thing here is you need to build an extra acolyte to bring with you on the tower rush. You get your frost armor first, which is so good against the grunts and the blade master, both for the extra armor and for the fact that it slows down these units, and so it means that Wulin can't actually focus things down, because as soon as you get a hit on something, say with your blade master, as long as it's been frost armored, it's super slow, so you can actually get it to do the next hit as long as you're moving away. And you can see TeD going for a very strong strategy here, where he sells his TP, buys a Rod of Necromancy and a Sacrificial Skull, and immediately gets the frost armor on the acolyte, because if you lose that acolyte, you're in so much trouble. And we'll have to see when Wulin's going to scout this out, because when he notices that he's really going to have to go into a sort of really different game style, where we're going to have to see him. Actually, he might be regretting the placement of this barracks, because it might go down a bit earlier than he would otherwise hope, just because it could be a bit easily focused down. You do bring your 2 ghouls here, and we see that you do leave 1 at home, which you can bring in later, depending on where you want to allocate your lumber. And there's just, as I said, there's so many interesting things you can do with this. You can choose to build a shop at the at their expansion as well, which not only increases your creep a bit, but it also just does a whole lot for letting you buy skeletons, maybe sell an item if you have to go to creep for a while because you have them contained and you don't want the item. There's a whole bunch of things to do there, and also it provides a very nice blocker as well. But it looks like for the moment we're seeing 2 ziggurats being set up by TeD, and we're going to have to see how Wulin wants to respond. Almost certainly he's going to bring in a bunch of peons. He's put lots in burrows, but it seems like they're out of range, so he takes them out. His shop is very, very late. That's very bad for Wulin, and he's actually building it quite close to his base. I think it'd be better to build it a bit further out. He's now going to try and take down these ziggurats. That's so important, while tanking a bit of damage with his peons and just getting in the way as well, and that's very, very nice. And you can see that the one thing that the frost armor can't be protecting is those ziggurats. So that's a very smart choice here, but it looks like Wulin's now going to go for the lich, who is a bit trapped now. He might be able to run out down the left side. Yes, he does just about manage to get out, but the blade master goes into windwalk 4. Will he be able to get the kill? He has been slowed, and Wulin is running for it, and he looks like he might just be able to catch him up. And TeD now very, very much with a very weak lich, but he's going to be able to run away. The blade master also very low and level 2, but he gets another windwalk. He does get the kill, and this is now a very bad position for TeD, who has only one of the Ziggurat's still up. It is upgrading to a Nerubian Tower, which is another fantastic way to slow the units of Orc. It's just so great to be able to slow units with things like the Nerubian Tower, because they have so few units that it's that slowing one unit is a large percent of their army slowed. And meanwhile, we have seen Wulin now hit tier 2, probably gonna go for a Tavern Hero. Tinker be alright. I think Panda's going to be the obvious choice. Yes, he does go for a Panda. I think it's a smart choice there, considering how many units there are, and you can hit the Nerubian Tower without having to take too much focus. You can get out of there, plus it's a strong hero, so it can take a bit of focus. And meanwhile, this Lich should be back any second now for TeD. Yes, it's just coming back now, and it looks like we are going to be seeing a bit of Breath of Fire here from Wulin as he's just going to try and do some damage, try and take down this tower, but TeD just being so fantastically aggressive here, really exposing the fact that Wulin didn't have great early game defenses. I think this barracks could have been placed a bit further back, and that probably wouldn't have done Wulin too much harm. And it looks like actually Wulin going to be able to focus on another fiend there, and his Blade Master is getting pretty close to 3, although he's now having to split that experience with the Panda, and this Nerubian Tower is getting very, very low, but taking mostly focus from peons and one grunt, and it looks like the Nerubian Tower will go down, and TeD now very much on the defensive, but his Lich comes back just in the nick of time, gets off a Frost Armor here, and that's going to force Wulin back to heal up for a bit at least. No tier 2 buildings yet, obviously, because things like Raiders and Spirit Walkers would just take too long to come out, and TeD is just so all in at this moment. He's just going to continue pumping things. He's actually supply blocked at the moment because he lost some ziggurats at the tower rush, and his acolytes only coming back now. If Wulin can focus that down, that'd be very, very nice, because I don't think TeD's actually building any more ziggurats in his base, so he's really focusing everything on getting them up here, and looks like a lot of focus going down on this Lich, who is still only level 1, bear in mind, so he only has 475 health, and really the plus 3 armor is just so useful in this situation. We are seeing a couple of ziggurats going up again, and this is just going to be, I assume he didn't build any more ziggurats in his main, no, so he's going to have a very long time before he can produce any more fiends. TeD really needs to get as much value to the front of this front of the line as quickly as possible, just because it's so easy for a couple skeletons to time out, and then this army looks a lot less intimidating. But TeD with some fantastic micro, really just managing to force Wulin to be down to a couple heroes, and now I think the best choice for Wulin is probably to try and kill off the Lich, and which isn't too unreasonable really at this situation. But nice skeleton use here by TeD, cancelling the healing potion and the salve and the clarity, which means that the Blade Master is going to be a lot weaker, but he does manage to kill one of the ziggurats. Another one in the back is about to finish though, and we can see TeD's actually brought in another acolyte in anticipation of this first one being focused down. Smart play here by TeD, and he's just played this game so fantastically up to this point. And even though now TeD can take out this barracks, it's not going to be necessarily the end for Wulin. We're going to have to see how much he can do with his heroes. Certainly having 2 heroes that are 2-1 compared to 1 level 2 Lich, which obviously can't even heal itself, and there's just only by standing on creep does he get healed. So it's really quite a scary position. A critical strike goes off there, and this Nerubian Tower is now finished, so he is being able to slow the Blade Master, who has bought a healing potion. That's a nice choice there by Wulin to spend his money now on potions to buff his heroes, as opposed to trying getting more grunts, which really can't get into the battle quite effectively because they just get slowed constantly. And nice blocking here by Wulin. TeD now in a lot of trouble with this Lich. If he loses this, he might have trouble actually pushing too much further forward because of the burrows in the defensive position, and the Tome of Relics now going down. That's a good choice there, and that's probably going to seal this game for TeD. We're going to have to see what Wulin can do, because obviously he needs to wait now to heal up his heroes, but at the same time waiting just really is going to put him in a bad position. He's building another grunt because he has this money that he can't spend on anything else. He doesn't have the time or really the lumber, presumably at this point, to be building too many tier 2 buildings, anything like that, and just they'd be so exposed. Things like Raiders, as I say, and Spirit Walkers just aren't going to be useful in this situation. And TeD now with a good position, he's being able to push forward a bit further, and we're going to have to see if Wulin's, he actually hasn't rebuilt his peons, so he doesn't have too many to put into that into this burrows without going into his gold peons. And looks like the Lich is going to be focused down again, level 3 on the Blade Master, who does actually have a potion of mana as well. Probably be better used on that Panda, but it is a nice sort of backup safety thing, where if you do run out of mana and you are in a bad position, you can just use it to wind walk away and save your hero. And now TeD, without a hero, going to be trying to do a bit more damage, trying to take down some of these burrows, which isn't really a high priority target at this point. It's not like Wulin's really producing any units at all at the moment. He's just trying to hold on, trying to do as much as he can with his heroes. We're going to have to see how strong the Blade Master really is. He's level 3, which is such a critical level. He's going to get 1 kill right here, and he's possibly trying to go for a second one, but just going to be able to do some damage before being forced back. There we go, there, that Nerubian Tower, just too scary there. And we have a Spirit Tower now coming up for TeD a bit further forward. That's a nice choice there. And meanwhile, the Panda just sitting in the middle needs to avoid the battle until he can be healed up. He passes a salve and then uses the salve himself so that the Blade Master doesn't have to break Windwalk. Nice play there by Wulin, and actually one peon now being chased away, but that's actually bringing 6 fiends with it. That's very, very good for Wulin. It's going to give him a bit of time to maybe harvest a bit more gold, pimp out his heroes a bit more, and then we're going to see what he can do after that. Blade Master, maybe we're going to see a counter attack here. That'd be very, very interesting. Lich isn't out yet, but we'll be back very soon. But I just don't think that TeD can I don't think that Wulin can break through. TeD is upgrading both his towers, one to Spirit, one to Nerubian. That's a good choice there. Obviously, once we have one Nerubian, you can basically be alright. And the Lich is now being focused on yet again. This is nice timing by Wulin to come in just as the Lich is popping out. It's going to mean that he can possibly even focus it down yet again. This would be so bad for TeD, but I think overall he just is in such a good position at this point. He's managing to even focus down the last burrow of Wulin, and I think if, regardless really of whether or not he gets this Lich kill, I think TeD's in a fantastic position, though clearly getting the Lich kill here would be so useful, and I don't see how this Lich is going to get away, because the Blade Master has bought a boots now, and so even though he's slowed for a bit, he can catch up so quickly, and even though he has past the mana potion? No, I guess he must have used it. I didn't see that. Or he sold it. I think that would have been a better choice, really. Lich levels up to level 3, though. That's going to be so good. He even gets level 2 frost armor, so he now has 8 armor. That's just so nice there for TeD. He's actually going to keep this Lich alive for the meantime, at least, but the Blade Master is running around to catch him when he comes out the other side, and TeD now upgrading another tower, taking out some more peons. Wow, this game is now over, thanks to a fantastic tower, which, as I say, I don't think I've ever seen TeD pull off successfully, so huge amounts of ults there by him, managing to get away with a tactic that I've never actually seen work in a actual game. I mean, I'm sure it works a lot for him in practice, otherwise he wouldn't do it. And it looks like Nova goes off, but it's not enough to slow the Blade Master. The Lich does go down again. Maybe we're going to see some huge comeback, but I just don't see it happening. Another potion of healing and potion of mana bought by Wulin, who has more gold than he can spend, and I think this is going to be it. Another Spirit Tower pops here, and there's the GG from Wulin. An amazing game there by TeD. Such nice aggression. We can really see why he's just such a resilient undead player, and I very much hope you enjoyed that game, folks. I'll try and bring you some more from WGT. There's a lot of fantastic games going on at the moment, and this tournament does actually have a losers bracket as well, so it's going to have plenty more games to come. Very much thank you all for watching. Please feel free to subscribe and rate this video as well. Thanks, folks.